Welcome to Dragonfly Trading. My name is Carrie, and I'm a full-time Elliott Wave trader in the crypto and Forex markets. Today's video is going to be an update on Bitcoin. I'm not going to go over ETH because we have a lot to talk about, and I feel like ETH is just going to do whatever Bitcoin decides to do here. So remember, this is not financial advice. This is just the way I see the market, and I intend to trade it. Before we get started, I have an announcement to make. I am no longer with New Wave Traders. I have decided to leave. And with that said, I have decided to pursue some of my own personal goals, and those goals include making Dragonfly Trading System accessible to everyone that would like to be an independent trader. So we have a lot of exciting stuff that we're going to be releasing, and I'm excited about it. So hit the subscribe, hit the like, so you won't miss these announcements as I announce them with every video. All right, so let's get started. So we're up on the weekly time frame, and we're soon to close a weekly candle here. This candle, if it closes the way it is, it's not really bullish, it's not really bearish, it's just neutral. I feel that most likely it will close the way it is. I don't see much change happening here. We might move up a little bit because we do have a gap when CME opens. All right, so don't get blinded. All right. I've went over this before, but I feel like I need to go over it again because all of these options are still on the table. Now we know that we all want this to be a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. 4 is either over or we're making 4, and we want this 5th to the upside. As long as this wave 4 does not break 14,000 and hit the red line of death, as Jim of All Trades would say, we are okay. As long as we stay out of that area, we can even come down this deep, but we just can't hit that $14,000 mark. We will be fine, and we should put in this 4th and get this 5th to the upside. But let's talk about what all can still happen here. And I'm going to go over these one by one, okay? So let's start with the white A, B, C, okay? It's assuming that we have a 5-wave move down or a 3, that our B is over or very close to being over, and then we would get 5 waves down to the downside. Now we know that C's can come deep. We've all seen them come deep on crypto. But as long as we don't hit 14,000, we are fine. So let's just keep this C wave short, okay? So this is a correction that can still take place. And I'm going to go ahead and delete it so we can clean up this chart. The one in brown, the W, the X, and the Y. It is exactly like the white ABC that I just showed you. The only difference is that this leg would come down in 3 waves instead of 5. Only difference. X is soon to be done or is done. And then we would come down in 3. The next count is the triangle. The triangle, we could move this line down and say that this 3-wave move is done and the B is actually here. And then we will get C, D, and E, which will contract, give us whiplash, but it would be a good thing because we would never break this bottom. If this C comes down and touches the bottom or breaks it, this triangle's off the table. We really need to make higher lows, lower highs. Now we could move the line up and the B is actually not in yet, and what would actually happen here is that we would correct down and then correct back up in a three-wave fashion. Then that would be the B. We come down for C in 3 waves, up for D in 3 waves, and then the E does not have to hit the trend line, but it can. And then we would blast out of here. This would all be 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves, contracting, and then we would break out. So triangle is still on the table. Let's take it off so we can get a better view of what we have left. These corrections are called flats. We have 2 flats here. Both of them break the high, these B waves. They come up into what we call the expanded B pocket. If you pull a fib extension from high to low, the 1.382, the 1.236 is that pocket. Now the B wave only has to come up 5% above the high and can come up as high as it wants. It just cannot hit this 1.618. That is the invalidation. If it hits it, it's not a B wave. But most of the time it likes to hit inside the pocket. Now this one, it has a short C wave that would make a higher low. What actually happens here is we would come down in 3 waves. We would come up again correctively, set in our B, and then we would get a very sharp rejection. Very fast, very sharp 5 waves, like this, right here. If we're lucky, we will get this correction and make the higher low because it is very bullish. And then we would blast off for our 5th wave. The same exact thing for this one over here, except what happens is the C wave comes much deeper. We don't want this correction. And we usually see this type of correction in expanded flat at the top of a run. We don't want this one because this one can come very deep and can potentially hit our red line. So the goal here is to get the running flat. Let's take a look at the indicator. So we are coming up into the bullish rejection zone, meaning that what we really want to do is get up above this red bar, the 60 to 70 mark. When we were coming up here and everybody thought that this was taking off and we were going to break the highs, we got rejected in that area. That's where we are at right now and sort of rolling over. So we know what the options are. I've told you the corrections that can happen here. So we're just going to have to wait and see what we do. Market Liberator, the yellow VWAP is starting to roll over, which tells me a correction is coming. It can roll over, but until it breaks the 0 line, we don't actually see big red candles like this. So we have a little room to go there before it breaks the 0 line. So we could trail sideways. Okay, so let's move on down to the daily. And we're just going to talk about the indicator here. Actually, no, I'm going to go over to the other chart. All right. This is a daily time frame. Let's talk about what our bullish count is first. Now, I've talked about in every video how I do not like this bottom. I don't like it. It's ugly. It screams corrective to me. I don't see how we can take off bullish from here, but I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and not acknowledge that there is a bullish count here. How exactly we're taking off and how we ended here, I can't explain. I've talked about it in all my videos, how we took off in 3 waves from here, and you cannot take off bullish in a 3-wave move. And I can't explain how we ended here because this is a 3-wave move. But, you know, the markets do not have to follow Elliott Wave, you know, and maybe there's a countdown here I'm not seeing. So let's talk about the bull scenario. And let me pull this down a little bit so that you understand. Why isn't it pulling down? There we go. Okay. This is a nest of 1-2s. If you don't know what a nest is, I'm going to explain it. The first 1-2 here goes with the big 3 that we want for that wave 5. Okay? And it most likely would be higher than that. I'm just putting it there for visualization. This 1-2 is the inner count of this third wave. And this 1-2 is the inner count of this third wave. That is what we call a nest of 1-2s, 1-2s. This brush, I don't understand it. So that's the bullish count. Let's go over the invalidations for it. If we break 44,000, this count completely comes off the table. If we break, let's see, 46,200, it's very less likely that this count is valid. So 4,400, complete invalidation. 46,200, very less likely. And we have went over what the other counts are, those corrections that I showed you. So basically, I'm looking at this as an A, a B, and this is a C. That could have one more hit to the high. So be very careful here. We have a gap, and this is just something that would happen to get people thinking we're going. And then we'd hit the top of this resistance and down we'd come. So be very careful here, guys. But I've went over the corrections of what can happen here. Now let's take a look at the RSI. So I talked about how we've got this upward motion and we've got the downward motion of bearish divergence. Every time we came down, we created bullish divergence, but we keep getting rejected lower and lower. And now we're getting rejected again, it looks like, even lower underneath that bullish resistance zone. So this has a good chance here of rolling over. So let's watch what we're doing here, okay? You know what the invalidations are for this very bullish count. And you know basically what my bias is, that I feel that this is an ABC and is very close to being done or is done. The market liberator could go either way on this daily right now. We've got a lot of humps to the upside. We're kind of due for a hump to the downside, but it doesn't mean that it has to. And I'm not trying to sound bearish. It's just, yeah, I just feel just more positive in the bull count or bear count, I guess. I'm more leaning towards that count, so but I'm definitely prepared for the bull, and I will definitely react 100% if this is going. Okay, so let's go on down a little bit more here. I'm trying not to make this video too long for you guys. But as you can see, we had this trend line here. Now, if this was going to be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, I really would have liked to have seen it hold this trend line. But doesn't mean that it's completely invalidated. You have the invalidations here. Okay? So this can come down and be a bigger wave, and this too just gets moved over. Be aware of that. Complete invalidation is at 44,000. Let's go down a little lower and take a look at the immediate wave action here. And I usually don't go down this far, but I will today. All right. To me, this looks like a 3-wave move. And then this is a very possible flat here, meaning that we have potential to go to the upside, but this is looking corrective, this move right here. If we break this bottom, I am going to lean towards more downside, and this leg is the start of something, meaning the start of downside correction that we've been waiting for. So remember, this 2 can get moved over, and remember the invalidations. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day.